Welcome, and we are back. Welcome to Alpha Nerds 15, a show for fans and first timers alike. I am joined here by my co-host Seth, the Fallen Lord Slakehouse. How are we doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, buddy. I was not expecting the Fallen Lord. Where's that from?
We're referencing to you being one of the kings of yore, and you've fallen, sir. We're just making all the Final Fantasy 15 references
Oh
we
yeah,
can here.
I'm sorry. I scrubbed Final Fantasy 15 from my memory.
Just scrub that trauma.
Yeah, because especially with the Fallen Kings of Yore that had no impact on the story whatsoever.
And
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you?
That's awesome. I am doing great. I see you're slowly moving into the new castle, to Castle Slakehouse there.
Yeah.
So
So yesterday we actually moved in officially. Left the apartment behind, moved in. Took us about 4 hours. We were all packed up and pretty well to go. But let me tell you what, man, there is absolutely nothing in this world that is worse than moving. I mean,
moving sucks.
it is. I would rather spend like a month in Alcatraz. Like God, absolutely terrible.
Yeah. No, moving blows because then you don't realize like how much shit you have, and then there's a bunch of, especially if you're a gamer, there's a bunch of just random shit that always ends up like in a box of fuck off, and like it sucks. And all you want to do is just get rid of all your things when you move. You're like, yeah, I just don't want any of this. Like, really, I just don't care. But I think
Yeah,
this is your last move for a while, right?
I would hope so. I mean, we just bought this house, and um, I don't know. Like it's a crazy feeling. I've never owned a house before, where I didn't have to like
Yeah.
live under my parents or live in an apartment with like a shared wall with neighbors and whatnot. And I'm still adjusting to the fact that like I can
It's all
do
yours.
whatever the fuck I want. Like today we ripped the floor out or the carpet out in this room, and me and my dad replaced all the flooring in this room. And it's just like I was trying to figure out how I wanted to hook my PC up earlier, and I was like, I'll just fucking drill a hole in the wall.
Yeah. Fuck it. It's yours now, buddy.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, dude, I'm doing really good. Um, we're a couple days late on this recording, but that's obviously because we had a lot going on. We were supposed to record last week at some point, but fell
Yeah.
asleep. I fell asleep for like 8 hours by accident.
Yeah, you hibernated on us, but
Yeah.
it's all good. I understand life happens, and we both definitely got some stuff going on, but we will keep it. We'll take a licking and keep on ticking here. So,
There you
have
go.
in that time, have you been able to do any gaming?
Dude, I have. So the first thing I want to talk about that I started playing, that I forget why I was motivated to do this. I think maybe because of our discussion last week, maybe. But I started Trails in the Sky.
Oh, you brave bastard!
I did. Oh no, you know what it was? Here, the thing that really pushed me over the edge that made me want to do it was there's this really good YouTuber, Matt McNuckles or something like that.
Oh,
Let me look it up real quick. Trails in the
Matt
Sky.
McKnuckles.
Yeah, he does the What Happened series.
Oh, yeah, I know him. I know him. I know him.
Yeah, Matt McMuscles is who he is. If people
Yeah,
haven't heard of him, I highly recommend that check him out. He's a really great. He almost makes like documentaries based on the
yeah, they're great. They're
history.
great content.
And he did Trails in the Sky SC, and he was talking about it. And this first off, the story of like how these games got dubbed the United States. You gotta watch it, dude. It is insane. Um, and I didn't realize it sounds like Trails in the Sky SC is actually the longest game in the series.
Oh, really?
Which
It's the
which
second chapter, right? That's the middle game.
yeah, that's the second game, yeah. Which is like, ooh, doctor, I don't know if I'm ready for that, but we're gonna give it a shot. So far I
So,
find it
so wait, you jumped straight into SC. You didn't
no
even.
no no no
Oh,
no.
okay.
The video that I watched from Matt McMuscles was about how Trails in the Sky SC got dubbed, and I was like, you know
Okay.
what? I got some time before Reverie comes out. I might as well, jump back in there, warm the old muscles up, get stretched out. Um, so far I really like it. I mean, I don't have any issues with it. What I will say is, like you had, it's hard to go back. It's hard to
Yeah.
go back to the like this rudimentary UI. The old school graphics and whatnot don't bother me as much, but what does bother me for some reason is the animations. They're not very crisp, but I will say I do think so far where I'm at, the writing in this game is quite a bit better than where Cold Steel was.
Okay.
Um, I cannot believe, and now I think Matt McMuscles also said this, that Trails of Cold Steel 4 is apparently widely regarded as like the
It's like the
worst in
worst.
the series.
Yeah, people hate it. I was like, ugh. I thought it was like one of the better ones, but
I do too.
we might be wrong here.
I mean, I understand like people are complaining about Trails of Cold Steel 4 having like a very predictable things happen, like, every time the guys are in danger, like, someone jumps in and you hear that like that song play. But I thought Trails of Cold Steel 4 was great, as we've talked about before. Super excited for Reverie, so that's why I'm playing Trails in the Sky. I don't know if I'll beat it or not. We'll see. And other than that, I've been playing. God, what's that game called? Lost Echoes. Lost Echoes. Unchained
Lost
Echoes.
Echo. Ah, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the
The
it's RPG. That's like supposed to be
Chained
like Chrono.
Echoes.
It's
Yes.
supposed to be like Chrono Trigger, or inspired by like Chrono Trigger or something like
Yes.
that.
Dude, let me tell you what. This game is absolutely phenomenal. Um, about as clear a love letter to the old school RPGs as you can get. Um, First off, I just want to say the artwork incredible. It plays super crisp on modern games, or it plays super crisp on a modern system, and it looks like how we remember 16-bit games looking back then, even though they didn't really look this good. The combat, although still your basic turn-based combat, is really unique in that it has a gauge in that you build up this gauge and you try to stay in the green zone. Every attack you do, or magic attack or action, pushes your dial further into the green zone, and then if you get past the green zone, it goes into the red zone, which forces you to do things like heal or switch out party members or defend, and it really makes you mix up the combat. Um, the characters all have really good personalities. It's very well written, and I'm all about it, man. I think it's really good. So those are pretty. Oh, and I played Crisis Core Remastered. So I haven't finished that, but I've gotten a decent way into it. It's Crisis Core, man. It's phenomenal. It looks really really good. It's been, I don't want to say completely remade, because that's not necessarily true. Um, but I'll say it seems like they cleaned up the animations a little bit, made it a lot smoother when the characters are moving, and my biggest thing is that they redubbed the characters, and Zach's voice actor is terrible,
A lot of people do not like his voice actor from everything.
absolute dog shit.
Yeah, everything I've heard of that game. I've heard great things, like pretty much glowing reviews. But yeah, everyone definitely takes umbrage with his voice actor.
Completely
Um,
missed the mark.
like, here's where I am on that game. Like, I want to get it. Um, but I also feel like it's what, $50 right now, brand new.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
50
so
bucks.
like I have this like Walmart gift card like burning a hole in my pockets. I'm like, I could pick it up, but I'm like, what if it goes on sale? Like I have so many games that I'm playing right now that I'm just kind of waiting, but that's definitely on my radar.
I mean, it's gonna go on sale at some point, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But one thing I will say, man, is it's the perfect game for me right now, where I can pick it up, play it for 20, 30 minutes if I need to, and put it down. Um, and I'm really enjoying that. But I mean, and to be fair, I've always loved Crisis Core. I think Crisis Core is a phenomenal game. I think it's one of the best games Square Enix has ever put out. To be fair, and it's even better on PS5, running at 60 frames a second with the updated
Mm,
animations, the updated particle
yeah.
effects, everything looking really good. The only thing is that Zach's voice is absolute dog shit, and it's so bad that I actually think I might turn it to Japanese track. Like
I
I
was
can't
gonna
stand it, dude.
I was gonna suggest that to you because I remember started to record the cursed episode, you had mentioned about not liking his voice actor, and I remember I was gonna be like, hey, why don't you try the Japanese voice track?
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think that's what I'm gonna do. But other than that, man, that's pretty much all I've been playing. What about you?
been pretty busy. Like tonight, we got back. Well, let me recap. So Saturday we went to Long Island. You know, the missus and I. We went up to Long Island. I took her to her first Islander game, and at their new arena, which they finally won. So, fun fact, I've been going to Islander games as an adult for like the last 10 years, and they like literally never win when I go, like ever. So they won, so that's
It's the
good.
curse, dude. It's the me and you
Yeah,
curse. When we like things,
it
we
is
can't
time.
enjoy
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
um, so then today we got back. We got back like around like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So we were watching some playoff football. So as we're recording this, the Bengals had just beaten the Baltimore Ravens in the wild card round. So go Bengals. Uh, but gaming wise, finally finished Gears of War 5 last week. So during your hibernation, me and my buddy Adam hammered out the rest of Gears of War 5. So I think that's Xbox's best game, like hands down. Like it's like not close. Like it's probably the best
Oh,
Xbox exclusive I've played probably in 10 years.
the best game overall. You think that's the best game on Xbox?
Oh yeah, like
Wow.
I mean on Xbox, like playable on the platform. It's technically an Xbox One game, but like the upgrades, even on my One X, it looks really good. And they just recently put out patches for Series S and Series X where it runs at 60 frames, 4K natively, and a bunch of other updates. And I'll say this: they put so much story into that and world building finally in the Gears of War universe, where before. Like they didn't really do it. Like they would take you to specific locations, but they really wouldn't explain like the lore, and I really have an appreciation of what what the coalition has done with the Gears franchise. There's even moments in that story where like certain characters, certain things happen to certain characters, and you're emotionally invested. Where you're like, oh shit. So I think they did a really really good job. We still have to play the DLC campaign, the Hive Busters. So that's something we're gonna get into probably this week. It's like a 3-4 hour add on campaign, which I love. I love stuff like that. So we're getting into that, and then I've been playing a ton of God of War, like a ton of God of War. I am like I
It's
would
what I
say
like to hear.
I'm almost 40 hours into it, and like I'm just taking my time with it. Like I'm doing like I said last episode. I'm taking my time with it, just getting like all the Odin's Ravens, like fighting all the Berserkers, just finding every collectible, trying to upgrade all the weapons, like basically getting the full God of War experience. And I will say, like, my opinions are the same as last time. Like, it's just a great quality game, and there's something to be said for that, where you're just getting a quality experience. I will say I might have spoiled the game for my not the story or anything like
Ooh.
that, but no, I didn't spoil that. But I might have spoiled the experience because for me, my buddy Adam, in his game room, he has like a 86-inch like nice ass TV with like
Ooh.
yeah, with like the 120 frames and the
Mm-hmm.
so you can play it in the high frame rate mode.
Right.
So like when I come back to my own TV that doesn't have that, I'm like, this hurts.
Yikes. Yeah,
So
I actually
yeah, getting killed.
So, what kind of computer monitor do you have? You got that sweet
Uh,
Gundam one, didn't you?
no, I'm just running a
Oh,
generic one. Like
so what you
it's an
could
Acer
do,
monitor.
you could do what I did, and you could bang out two birds with one stone. Is you could get yourself a really nice monitor because monitors, as far as like the high frame rate, are much cheaper than the TVs,
Yeah.
and then you could plug your PS5 into that, and you could get your high frame rate mode out of that because that's what I did, dude. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Now with the high frame rate mode, you're obviously at the lowest visual fidelity
Yeah.
you're gonna get, but that high frame rate mode is nice, dude,
Yeah,
because I don't know what God of War's high frame rate mode is. It's got to
it's
be.
120. It's
Is it
120 frames.
120?
Yeah.
It is smooth, man.
Yeah, so
Really smooth.
I'm thinking about just on my set just switching it to the performance mode and going just to 60 1080 or whatever it is cuz it'll run fine like whatever, but yeah, that's like uh because I'm big on like experience. Like so a game for me like obviously, gameplay's king and story and all that, but like the overall experience for me. So like, uh, I have to have like the ambiance right. So like where I'm down in my game room, I have my sound bar in with the surround sound, and then like 70-inch screen that's 4K. Like I need all that. Like I just need that whole setup because I think where sometimes we lose value as gamers is like you gotta have the right setup so you can get all the features. Like so I got the 3D audio going, I got the the whole shebang, and like now that I know like I need to upgrade my set, I'm just like we're
Yeah.
hurting.
Um I really really want an OLED TV.
Yeah, me too, buddy.
Like, dude, this Samsung S95B, I had to look it up. I am dying to get my hands on one of these bad boys. Now, Caitlin said we could get one, but she wants to wait until our TV burns out,
Which fair.
dies. It would, yeah. The one I want right now is about $1,600, and that's only a
Yeah,
55-inch. I would really like, like a 65-inch.
yeah, you got to go
Um,
big. So here's what
yeah.
you do: next time Watson's over, just trip him in the TV.
So the 65 inch is about 2 grand. Um,
Yeah.
and that's, I mean, that's a hefty price, but
So here's
worth
a
it.
question: now, how are you going to do your gaming setup now? Are you gonna like is all the gaming going to be dedicated to one room, or are you going to be a living room
Mhm.
guy? Are you?
I don't know that I'm struggling with that because I have this room that I'm in right now, and it's dedicated to gaming. Like that, this whole room is going to be like my personal like gaming space. But there's something about the couch, dude, and like the TV, with the PS5.
Yeah,
I think when it comes to like my consoles, I'm gonna leave them in the living
living
room.
room.
But
Okay.
like my PC, and maybe if I get like a retro space or some point, I'll throw it in here. But I think I'm gonna paint these walls black too. By the way,
Okay.
like I don't
Why
know, there's
black?
something like yeah, like I black. There's something
Oh, all
about
right.
like black in this room that I'm really digging. So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's always a big debate for me because like I'm strictly a game room guy now where like
Yeah.
all my gaming that's done at my house now, I do it all in the basement because I have a dedicated game room with a recliner, 70-inch TV and stuff like that. So like in the living room there's no I mean, we have like oh wait, no, the Xbox is actually in Philly. But usually there's an Xbox One or a PS4 there that we can play Blu-rays and stuff on, or like if there's something like if I'm playing a PS4 game in the game room, I'll use the cloud save and play it in the living room, when I'm feeling lazy. But yeah, definitely. See, that's a funny thing about like living in a whole house. Like you have your dedicated rooms, and you're like, oh wait. So
Yeah. I don't know, man. Because like I said, it's weird that I have a gaming room and I won't be playing my PS5 in it. But at the same time, I'm like, I mean, there's nothing that beats because I don't have like I'm not gonna have a recliner in here or anything. It's just
yeah,
gonna be like my
a desk.
PC. So I don't know. Maybe I'll figure
Don't
something
sleep
out.
on putting a futon in there.
I was thinking about putting some sort of like couch or something in here that I could
Yeah,
relax on.
I think you should put your. I don't know if what you ever did with that futon that was in your bedroom when we lived together,
I
but
threw it
like
out.
maybe. Well, yeah, there went that idea. Then I was gonna say, yeah, throw that bad boy in there, and you're done.
That thing was all broken and everything. Like the
I
arms were
I
shattered on it.
I till this day do not know how you would sleep on that thing. I remember the one time I walked in your room and you were asleep on that, and like it wasn't even in like like futon mode. It was in like couch mode. I'm like, how the fuck does he fall? Like, and you found it comfortable. Like I thought, because I had the same one. Remember when I
Yeah.
first moved into that house, I slept on it for like a week, and like my back is fucked up. Like I
Yeah,
can't.
so the I don't know, man. It was funny that we got the same futon and I used it like as my main chair for
Yeah,
everything. I played hours and hours of video games on that thing. and I would just get so exhausted and so tired that I would just like lay down on it and fall asleep because I was, when you work night shift,
Yeah.
your body can only take so much punishment before it's like,
Yeah.
all right, we're
All
shutting down now. We're done.
right. We're shutting her down.
Which
Yeah,
is
dude.
like
I
that's what
really.
happened to me. That's what happened to me last week when we were supposed to record. I missed everything that day. Like I was supposed to get my car inspected. I was supposed to record with you. I needed to pack and like I was like
Done.
I'm gonna take a nap at 2 because I can't take it anymore. And then at 11 I woke up and I'm like, oh, where am I?
Caitlin didn't wake you?
No, she was asleep too.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I remember that. I actually still have that futon. It's up in our cat room now. Like I gave it to our cats. That's how much I hated that futon. um, yeah, because I just like I remember like I would sit on it. It would hurt my ass. Like I'm like this thing sucks. It was a cheap futon. It was $100. Like but I remember like for getting functionality out of it. Like I fucking couldn't stand that goddamn thing. I hated it so much. Um, that's funny. So the last thing I've been dabbling in, and you're gonna laugh at this, but hear me out. I am feeling the call to return to my roots. I every time I go down to my game room and like I look at my PS2 collection and I see all my Shin Megami Tensei games, and then like I just recently watched a playthrough of a guy who he played through Persona 2, like Innocent Sin, and I'm like, okay. And then I watched another review about the new Soul Hackers game, and I'm like, it's time for your boy to come back. It's time for me to come home. So I've decided that I'm gonna start playing the mainline SMT games again. I haven't decided
son of a
which one I'm
bitch.
I haven't decided which one I'm gonna get back into, but I just feel the itch, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I haven't even platinumed I haven't even platinumed a Persona game, and I feel like I need to do that. So I even downloaded the Royal, and like maybe I'll dip my toes, get back into that, and slowly just chip away at that platinum when I'm not playing anything. But like I just feel like I want to come back in. So it's either between Shin Megami Tensei 5 to get me back in, just gonna might truck through that, or I may just go balls deep and finish Soul Hackers. So I haven't. I'm still we're TBD on that, but yeah, that's where I'm leaning towards jumping back into Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah,
Just
Soul
fading
Hackers
away.
2 got like pitiful reviews.
Yeah, but the first one's really good, like story wise.
Yeah, I don't know. I still want to try it.
Get a
But
three, get a 3DS, buddy.
no, the second one, not the first one. I can't. I just the 3D playing the 3DS again makes me want to die inside. Like I don't think I can do it. I actually don't think I can do it. And the thing was that I got a 2DS, the
Which I'm
foldable
jealous
one.
of. Yeah,
Yeah, and
gorgeous,
I
gorgeous
actually
system.
loved it. I actually loved that system. I still have it actually, but I
Yeah.
refuse to play it because I'm just not gonna do it. I
Well,
refuse.
I was fucking with my 3DS for a while. If you remember on the Alpha Nerd Facebook page, I was always like sharing my Mario Golf scores or playing Fire Emblem. Then like one day I was playing Fire Emblem. I was playing actually Fire Emblem Echoes and really enjoying it. And then like I put my 3DS down, and I don't know if I walked away for longer than maybe I think I did, because like I felt like I was gone 20 minutes. Like I felt like it was literally gone 20 minutes, and then I came back and the battery was dead. I was like, "Ugh." But so I feel like it's not holding a charge, and I feel like that's probably a
That's
problem. But
yeah. That's. I mean,
that's the end.
yeah, because 3DS is notoriously like never die. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what black magic Nintendo uses in their batteries, but their shit lasts forever, dude. Like
Yeah.
even the Switch, which is like you can imagine their biggest power drain, it'll last for like almost forever in sleep mode,
Yeah.
like
hmm
a crazy long amount of time.
I
And
remember I
I'm
left mine in sleep mode for like 2 weeks and it still wasn't dead. I was like, what the
yeah,
fuck?
and their Pro controller, dude. I have
Love it.
yet to charge mine. It just doesn't die.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah, I
man.
like
It's
never
crazy.
charge mine either. But yeah, like so I gotta at some point fuck with the battery and see like what's going on, because like maybe I just didn't charge it, or I always, I'm a weird believer. Like I used to charge it in my car, and like maybe this like that's not giving it enough juice, or it's not getting a proper charge. Like I don't know if
Mm.
that's a thing, but Yeah, so I got at some point got to check that out. But um, Soul Hackers is supposed to be like the 3DS game I really like. But yeah, I saw like the sequel isn't getting great reviews.
Yeah.
But like here's the caveat with SMT games though, they don't tend to review well because
Really?
like not besides or excuse me, besides SMT4 reviewing probably about around the best. I would say I think it reviewed better than SMT5. I haven't like checked Metacritic or anything, but I remember SMT4 for a while was regarded as like the best RPG on 3DS. But like it's all depends on like what your tastes are, because like that's one of those games that like I remember back when you and Austin were podcasting, like he talked about like hating at because like it was too hard.
Mm.
And like that's what like makes mainline SMT a little bit inaccessible to other fans, because like you expect Persona, and if you come in like, oh yeah, I like Persona, I like mainline SMT, and we've talked about this before, but like yeah, that's gonna just kick you right in the fucking nuts and be like, no, go back to your fucking social links, nerd.
Um, I also hated Shin Megami Tensei 5 though. 4? 5?
Four, I don't know if you played
4.
five, but
No, no. 5 is on Switch, right?
yeah,
4 is
correct.
on 3DS. I just hated the low quality of everything. I felt like the game should have been a console game, and I didn't understand why it was on the 3DS. And yeah, I only played like a couple hours of it, and I wasn't vibing with it. Just like the point and click nature of like the exploration, and then
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of it. But I did want to ask you: have you ever played any of like the wild PS2 SMT games, like Digital Devil Saga or Devil Summoner?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I have both Devil Summoner games. I never played. Like those are the Raido Kusunawa games.
Yeah.
Uh but I haven't played those. But my first SMT game actually was Digital Devil Saga.
Oh, okay.
I remember one day I was at EB Games, or not, I lied, not EB Games. Where I lived, there was a software at ETC, like etc.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then it became an EB Games, and then it became GameStop. But I remember like that was that weird time. Like we talked about this too. But, that was that weird time where Final Fantasy 12 had come out, and like I didn't like it, so I was like, you know what, I'm out on Square right now. Like I'm just out. So I was in this weird transitional phase where I was just trying different RPG franchises. That's like where I discovered Grandia, and that's where I discovered SMT. And then like, yeah, you see this Digital Devil Saga game. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then I played it, and it's got like heavy metal soundtrack. It's dark. You're killing demons, and you like it's pretty good. I never beat it, but yeah, it's probably one of my favorite SMT games is Digital Devil Saga.
Okay, okay. Um, yeah, I have that collector's edition, that rare
Yeah,
collector's edition of Devil Summoner.
that's worth a pretty penny, my guy.
Yeah, with the plushie, right?
Yeah, with Jack Frost.
So my dad wanted all of my stuff out of my old room at the house, right?
It's time.
So
Get this shit out of here.
first off, all my PS1 collection was there, and my jewel cases were mint, dude. I
Yeah.
mean, not mint; they had scratches on them, but there was no
Yeah,
breaks, right?
right.
And he doesn't know anything about the hobby. And I came there one day, and all my stuff was packed up, and I'm like, oh my god.
Oh.
I'm like, Dad, where is it? He goes, I packed it up, threw it in the attic, and I'm like, oh no. And dude, because like my whole Chrono Cross collection of stuff was there, and all this like really like my rarest stuff was at my dad's,
Mhm.
including that collector's edition
Yeah.
of Devil Summoner, and I have not seen it since, and I am terrified to look at it because I
It's
just
stuffed
know,
in
dude,
there.
I know like all the plastic's gonna be like broken or like bent to
Uh,
hell, and like and because
you
my
think he
dad,
did that?
well, he doesn't know, like he
Uh,
just. I'm sure he just threw it all in a
Stuffed it
box
the
and
fuck in
stacked
there.
stuff up on top of it, and
Ah.
yeah,
Now, have you reclaimed that stuff, and is it now in your house?
I have not yet.
Oh.
I have not. Yeah, like I said, we
And
just moved in yesterday, so
okay.
he told me that like, well, I'm gonna start dumping off your boxes of crap. Like, okay,
I love it. He's all in. He's like, yeah, he's out of here. He's out.
yeah,
He's fucking gone.
yeah.
Now, Well, last thing on SMT, and then we'll get into the legend that is Denny Slyhouse. Um, I, I find it really funny that the same game. There's one game that like made me fall out of love with SMT. There's one game that finally broke me, and I've been like scouring YouTube, and I watched a really funny video where like a guy was shouting out like other smaller SMT channels, and the first channel he shouted out, he was like, this guy doesn't make content anymore. The last thing he did was play Strange Journey, and then apparently that just broke him. He just didn't want to play anymore. And that's the same game that like ruined SMT for me, where I'm like, dude, I fucking hate that this game sucks.
Dude, and you
And
were
like,
like so adamant that you loved it too, and I
yeah,
was
no,
watching you play it. I was
dude,
like,
Strange Journey is like, it's the 3DS remake, and that game is it's so fucking boring. It's like it does the two biggest sins of a game. It's boring and it's fucking hard. Like,
oh,
so
okay, wait. So that wasn't the one that I was watching you
no,
play.
the one you watched me play was Digital Devil Story, which is
Oh,
like,
okay.
that game also can break you, but like the one that did it was Strange Journey, where it just like, it's just so boring, and then it's just like you get into these hard ass dungeons, and then you wipe, and then there like you got to go all the way back to the beginning, and then there's a Maka penalty. Like, it's brutal. But yeah, no, that
Oh
game broke
yeah.
me.
That was one. Do you lose XP or something like that, right?
Yeah, that was in Digital Devil Story, where like I was in an area that like I died and got de-leveled, and then got a 50% Maka penalty. So that's like brutal. So is everything
Did you
all right,
hear
Seth?
that?
Yeah, I heard that too.
There was some sort of something just crashed and fell. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Weird
So
stories at a new house. Yeah, but I was watching you play that SMT game, and
yeah.
I'm like, Pedro, this looks awful, and you're like, no, this is great. I love this, and I'm like, there's no way. There had absolutely no way anybody could love this. You're just walking through the same maze over and over again with the same textures, and like, I'm like, there's no way. This looks awful. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Not my thing.
yeah, it's on my bucket list to actually beat Digital Devil Story, because it's like a notch in the belt. That's like, it's like when you first beat Nocturne, you're like, I'm a fucking man now. Um, but yeah, like that's definitely on the list. But my question in regards to the legend that is Denny Slyhouse, what's he doing with your room? Like, is he turning it into like another gun cave, or?
No, they made it like a guest room. I think that's it. Like, his girlfriend's children come from they live in Texas, and they turn
Ah,
that into like a room they can stay in and whatnot.
okay.
But I rag on him all the time because I'm like, Dad, you told me that like I could always come back. That like my stuff's gonna be there for me, and if I ever want to come back. And he's like, well, that was 10 years ago.
Shit's changed, motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But he's been
awesome.
super helpful. He's been great getting the whole house set up. He's been doing all kinds of repairs with me and stuff. So he's doing great. But me and Watson were just talking about the um the one day when you first met him, and he called you a pussy for blowing out your ACL.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Slyhouse. Appreciate
yeah.
that.
Well, like,
uh,
was that the same time he told me I needed better friends as well? Were you there for
yeah.
that?
Yeah. That was
Because for the people who don't know, we our buddy Robert worked at Wise Markets, which is like a grocery store here, and my dad was like, "Oh, can you give me discounts on beer?" And Robert was like, "No, it doesn't work like that." And Dad looks at me and goes, "You need better friends, son." Okay. This is also there's like a legendary story with me and Robert and Dad where um I don't know if you ever heard this, Pedro, but my dad used to be like a semi-pro professional or a
Yeah,
semi-professional paintball player.
I think I have heard this, but go on,
So
this is a great
me and
story.
Robert were just like four-wheeling out. My dad owns 45 acres of land, and me and Robert were just like four-wheeling out there and like, having fun, whatever. And we pulled over and stopped and we're talking, and I just heard like a whizzing sound, like whoosh, right past my hair. And I looked and I saw it was a paintball that had exploded. And for those who don't know, like paintballs hurt a lot. If you get hit by a paintball, it like will leave like a significant
Well,
mark on
yeah,
your body, like
they're
a
gonna be
huge
covered in
one.
welts.
And I look over and I see Dad stand up out of the bushes with like his paintball gun pointed at me and Robert, and I'm like, Robert, run! And like I knew enough to like get on my four wheeler and drive away as he was shooting me in the
Oh
back, right? But
no,
Robert
you
decided
ran.
to he ran into the woods on foot, and like my dad just being like this monster, like chasing him, shooting him with paintballs, and like Robert's like trying to hide behind trees and stuff, and my dad's just like out playing him, and the mountain they're on is like very steep. Well, Robert ended up slipping and falling and tumbling all the way to the bottom.
Oh,
And my dad just walks up to him and goes, "You all right?" And Robert's like, "No, man. No, I'm not okay." You know, you just hunted me like an elk.
Oh, that is an all-time. I love that. I love hearing that story. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, dude. Like that's the kind of person Denny Slakehouse is, my father.
What a fucking legend.
Yeah, I mean, just he's where I get like most of my like weird humor from, I think. But
Oh man, he's your dad. Your dad's a fucking beauty. He's a good dude. I like him.
yeah,
So, but yeah, as far as like other nerdy shit, I haven't been doing much. Like we just watched a movie with Jake Gyllenhaal in it. It was called The Guilty, where he's like, this movie does one of those things where it tells a story within a story within a story, which okay, like if you're gonna do that, like if you're gonna tell a story with multiple like threads to it, you're gonna have it make sense. And so he's working at a or at a
watch
911
this.
dispatch.
I knew I watched this. Yes, I did. I saw this.
Yeah. And like overall, like good movie. Like I enjoyed it, but like there definitely were some parts where you're like, what? Like, so he's like a cop who apparently, I guess, killed somebody. It comes out,
Hmm.
and but they don't really like. He's all weird about it, and like he's like got his inhaler, and he's stressed the fuck out to the gills, and I guess like they're gonna cover it up. They don't really like. They don't explain it very well. But yeah, overall decent movie.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to leave that movie open for interpretation
Yeah.
in a lot of stuff, and I hate that, dude. I absolutely hate that. Like, listen, I'm here for 90 minutes, or 120 or more
Right.
on today's run times, and I'm like, just tell me a story. Things that
Entertain me.
are yeah, things that get like all preachy with like interpretation and whatnot, like the end of Inception drives me nuts. I hate
Yeah.
stuff like that. I hate it. Um, but I will say I thought that The Guilty was I thought it was pretty good,
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
except for the parts that were just like ambiguous and
Yeah,
left unknown. I hated that.
yeah, that's why I don't like. I don't like stuff like that either. I can appreciate it, but I'm more of a like black and white storytelling. Like
Yeah.
make it abundantly clear like what you're trying to convey to me. So, um, yeah. So that's really about as far as like me getting into my nerdy shit though. But I'm glad I'm finished with the Gears of War 5 because now like that opens up a slot for me. Like I said, to get back into the SMT world, or I might be eyeballing that Star Ocean, the Divine Force. Might be eyeballing that.
Why?
It's gotten decent reviews.
It's gotten like average reviews I saw.
Yeah. It's better.
Here's
It's
me.
better than Integrity and Faithlessness.
That's true. So here's my thing with the Star Ocean game, the latest ones. Why do the characters look like that? I can't take
I
it.
don't know.
Dude, especially the women, like their faces. I don't. It creeps me out. I don't like
Yeah,
it.
I feel like It's like they are running off their like PS2 engine with like upres, or I don't know how to describe it. It's like they HD remastered like till the end of time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Try the demo.
I really enjoyed Star Ocean. Was it 4?
Yeah, the Last Hope.
Yeah, the one that you got spoiled for you.
Yeah, I've slowly been suppressing that memory so I can eventually play it. That's like true villainy. Let's like talk. Let's spend a minute on that. So imagine spoiling a game for somebody that like fucking 12 years later they still can't play because they can't unforget what the fuck you like.
Yeah,
Like
I
imagine.
mean that is true villainy from maybe the most arguable true villain we've ever met in our lives.
Yeah,
The
that
person
was
the person who,
that
the
was a
person who
Joker
did
moment.
this the person who did this like thrives on making people miserable. So
Yeah, it's a true moment of villainy. Oh man. So now we've got some shit to handle here. So we're gonna do our segment of misconducts
mhm.
because we got some fucking shit baggery that's gone on here. So let's
It's been
get
a rough
into
week.
this. Yeah, so let's get into this first thing. So limited run games. This has been coming a long time. So before we get into the big thing that they did, because they did a big thing, they for the record, they're number one on the list. Number one, limited run games. So limited run games, when they were first founded, they're a North Carolina based company. They were doing physical print runs of games that would, you know, be considered rare. So like they started with like Saturday Morning RPG, Retro City Rampage, and it was fun for collectors to get on there and get like limited run copies because they would only make like all right, we're selling this game physical 2,500 copies, no, we're not making anymore. So it was cool to get your hands on a copy because it was like kind of a collector's piece. And then when you would go to conventions, like when we went to PAX, I picked up a bunch of limited run games that were um the PAX exclusive covers.
Yes.
So like
Yes.
it was cool. Like they were doing a really cool thing, especially for us physical collectors that they were making games that were like cool indie games that were very collectible. So I have a bunch of them. I have read only memories. I have East Origins. I have anything Castlevania they've done. I have the Bloodlines collection. I have the Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. I have a fair amount of limited run games because I was a big limited run game supporter. I even bought their Panzer Dragoon remake that they did, and I even got Scott Pilgrim versus the World they did. So I've invested a significant amount with this company because it's cool. Like again, it's cool collector stuff. Like you get physical copies of games that otherwise you would not. You would only have to buy digitally. So over the last year or so, they were recently acquired by a big company. I can't remember the name. It was a really big acquisition for them, and their production value, or not, I wouldn't say value. Their production, just in general, has taken a big nosedive. Where the last limited run games product I bought was I bought a copy of Shredder's Revenge, and I got like the VHS edition that comes like in a case that looks like a VHS. I pre-ordered that maybe almost a year ago and just finally received that like maybe a couple weeks ago. There are people who pre-ordered the coat, like I think Maddie did this. He pre-ordered the KOTOR Knights of the Old Republic stuff they were doing, and he that was almost a year and a half ago, if I'm correct, and he still hasn't received this. So like so much of their shit is on back order that like you'll order something from limited run games right now and forget you fucking ordered it, and then like 6 months to a year later you're getting an email, hey, we're sending this to you now. And then if you cancel a pre-order, they don't fully refund you.
That I saw is criminal. You can't do
Yeah,
that. Now we're going to talk about some other stuff that isn't necessarily criminal, but scumbag level stuff. But how is it possible that if you pre-order something from them and you cancel it, you can't get your money back?
I don't. That's something in the fine print. But yeah, like and here's the other thing too. Like when you get pre-order something from limited run games, excuse me, pre-order something from limited run games. Um, they I don't know if they're still doing limited pre-orders because now I feel like they do open pre-orders where you can just go on pre-order something and then you'd be done with it. But before, you used to have to enter a queue, and like I remember for Night Trap, they did it. They did a limited cop run copy of Night Trap, and I remember people were getting pissed because like there were bots in there. Like people get in with bots, and like it would be sold out in seconds. Like it would be, and then you would have to wait for the 6 o'clock drop, or you'd have to be up at 10 a.m. for the 10 a.m. drop. It used to be a huge pain in the ass, and like now it's just so like I just feel like they lost their luster. Where not really limited run, like you're just kind of getting physical copies of whatever. Like there's so much shit on their site now. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's brutal.
I remember I did that for you. It was like the Street Fighter collection or something, right? Or
Yeah,
the Fatal
yeah,
Fury,
yeah. Fatal
or
Fury. It was Fatal Fury.
yeah. Um, I remember doing that for you, and it was a huge pain to get that. But
Yeah.
now, dude, I don't know. I see. I'm not into the like limited run collecting, but I can safely tell you for now, like I will never ever spend a cent at this company ever.
Oh no, they're never gonna get a dime of my money ever again. Just because.
Nope.
Let's get into the big thing. So they recently terminated an employee. I'm not gonna really. I don't really want to get into names or anything like that because, like, grand scheme of things, their name doesn't necessarily matter. But basically, what happened was a Reddit user or Twitter user who, ironically, is like a founder of BronyCon. Um,
It's quite a credit there, huh?
yeah. Where is it? Basically, a founder of BronyCon was pulling up something on Resetera. They like, hey, why does Limited Run Games have a transphobe as their community manager? And then I linked the tweet that says like she's replying to a tweet that says asks the feelings of the Hogwarts Legacy game, a game that a lot of people are excited about. So like it's not unreasonable to be like, oh, I'm excited for this. So they spun that with the whole issue with J.K. Rowling, who is allegedly a transphobe. I don't follow that whole I guess that whole echo chamber, but Limited Run Games, after I guess being made aware of this, says they conducted an investigation and then terminated this employee. So, based off one person in the trans community who's been involved, who, if you listen to the most recent Sacred Symbol, they go into more detail on this, but they were involved in a bunch of other scandals with other people too. So they have like a history of just stirring shit up. And they basically pointed out like, oh, she made this tweet like 7 years ago about transgender people. That wasn't even, it wasn't even like a bad tweet. It was basically pointing out like, for all the people crying foul about um not being able to use a specific bathroom or something along those lines, like, what about all the pervs who continue to use that as like a crutch? It was basically like, it wasn't a great tweet by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't like anything like I guess, to put it in context, like Colin's day without a woman tweet might have been actually worse than what this lady tweeted.
Well,
which is saying something.
it was essentially a numbers tweet where she was like,
Yeah.
if you think the number of people that are trying to get into transgender bathrooms compared to the number of perverts that are using them as an excuse, um, you're what's wrong with this world, right?
Yeah, it wasn't
Which I mean,
anything bad.
she's probably not wrong with. I mean,
No,
like
I don't
that
think that's an unreasonable thing to say.
it's an extremely small minority of people we're talking about. And if people are interested in this, I really recommend um, people listen to this episode of Sacred Symbols. It's episode 237, where Colin really goes deep into this controversy. And I don't want to retread what they said, because
Yeah.
honestly, we're not going to be able to do it as well or as eloquently as Colin did. But what I will say is, this is absolutely disgusting behavior from limited run games, and to do it based on one person's power, it shows like these guys are absolute cowards, and they're
Yeah.
so terrified of
Like the
blowback
blowback, yeah.
that they'll just completely destroy the career of one of their own.
Yeah.
Instead,
Just
dude,
fucking
if
sell them up the river.
and what I'm seeing that I'm actually hopeful about is that they have to realize now at this point the irreparable
Yeah.
damage they've done to their reputation
Yeah.
was not worth what they did. Because if you look at their Twitter, limited run games, their engagement has slowly been completely dropping off of a cliff.
They disabled comments on like a lot, or replies on like a
Right.
lot of their shit.
But now you can see the numbers of like views, Um, their likes are in like the low double digits in their stuff. They're they've absolutely destroyed their engagement on their profile because I mean people just aren't interacting with them now. What I will say is, if they had not done this, it would have blown over in a couple days. If they've
Yeah,
just ignored it, it would have just been blown over in a couple days. And they have to realize that at this point, that like these people get distracted by something and move on to something else. 2 months after Hogwarts Legacy comes out, we're never going to hear about it anymore.
right.
It's they're gonna have something else to latch onto, and they're gonna move on. But like, man, what limited run games did, and they completely blacklisted this lady for no reason at all. She did nothing wrong. I want to be super clear about that. That is absolute cowardice, and they will never get a cent of my money ever again.
Yeah, no, I like it. Like I want to reiterate earlier, like I'm never buying a limited run product ever again, and it sucks because I overall I used to like their product a lot. Like, but if you're gonna literally ruin the livelihood of one of your employees, so imagine like you just bought your new house, right? Imagine if like with the company you work for, like, hey, somebody made us aware that you tweeted this like 5 years ago, dude. Like, we're gonna let you go. Like,
Like I'm like, all right, we'll
like
square up
what?
because like I'm slapping the hell out of you.
Yeah,
Like, but
like an entire
that
livelihood ruined. Like, what?
that is one thing that I'm glad that my father really instilled in me is that like nothing is worth sacrificing your self-respect and your morals, right?
Right.
So like I will never ever sell out my friends or like the people I'm close to the way for instance Greg Miller did, right?
Yeah.
That is the biggest reason I have a problem with him is because he just shows absolute coward behavior that day. And like people are so dumb if they think that the people working at limited run games did not know this girl's politics. What do you think they talked about every day around the lunch
Yeah,
table? What
and
do you
like,
think like
I don't
they
understand that.
knew, dude. They knew the whole time. And you people think that like you went on some deep investigation and you found something. And by the way, from 2016, all
Yeah, it
right?
was for forever ago. Like,
From
er,
2016, 7 years ago, and you think that you found something, and limited run games was like, whoa, that's crazy. We never knew. No, dude, like these people talked every day. They were friends, acquaintances, just as you become with people at work,
yeah.
and they knew, and they sold that person out, and threw them under the bus to save some PR, which ended up backfiring
Blowing up
brilliantly.
their face.
And I'm
Yeah.
glad. I'm glad. Fuck them.
Yeah, yeah, because it's and here's the thing that's like the crazy part of it, because like you're right, they had to have known this person's politics, and like look where like you're in the Carolinas, like you're in the South, like so like more likely than not, there's going to be more conservatism, probably a little bit more right wing ideologies, just of the region you're in, like, and again, like that shouldn't matter, like unless they're tweeting like definite like transphobic, homophobic, you know, anti-Semitic, like all the the big $1 million words here. Like unless they're doing shit like that, then like how are we just gonna just completely ruin someone's livelihood over Twitter? Like I couldn't imagine, like if somebody went through my Twitter history, right? Like there would be shit that like I said that I probably shouldn't say, or like things that I retweeted that probably like now as a 32-year-old man, like, yeah, a little immature, but whatever. I stand by what I said. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh no, why would you run from it? Like, it's on your Twitter. But like, if you're gonna try and ruin my livelihood, as far as like affect my ability to put food on my table, affect my ability to provide for myself, I have a problem with you. Like that's now we have like you can't do that. And like in the games industry,
Yeah.
I just feel like we've given so much power to just anybody. Like I could like anything is gonna get somebody fired, and like that's not okay. Like I just feel like these people on Twitter and maybe I don't know what the precedent is, but the fact that like we're so quick to try and just ruin everybody, like what are we gaining out of that? Like, so a person like Andrew Tate, right? He deserves to be silenced on social media. He's a piece of shit. Like just complete piece of shit. But like in the same token, like what happened with Colin, or even any, some of these other guys in the games industry, where they'll say something that maybe people don't like, or could be taken the wrong way, and then now that means like, oh, fire this guy, like get rid of him, like he should never be able to earn a living, like. So I question what these people also do for a living, that that they're just so detached from their own careers. Like I could never imagine like somebody being like, "Hey, you can't work for your job right now because you tweeted something fucked up to a sports team 10 years ago." Like what?
So to answer your question, what these people get out of it, it's power, dude. It's power. It's always been about power. Like they know that they have the power to do this and they exercise that right. These people are losers. They're the absolute scum of the earth. They wake up every day, look in the mirror, and realize, my day is going to suck because I suck. They get picked on the street. They have no self respect. They have no drive to do anything. But when they get on the internet and they see someone else that has something more than them, right? Something that they don't like, something that makes them feel bad. Well, now they have the power to do something about it. And they don't care if it's morally right. They don't care if it's morally wrong. When this person was confronted about it, they made like a 13-page response, and it was all about how they were the victim, right? Because they actually can't see a situation in which they're the bad guy. They're completely delusional. And honestly, I think that this situation, not this particular situation, but people like getting exposed, like look at what happened. Was it James Gunn got
Yeah.
exposed for 10-year-old tweets? Dude,
Mm-hmm.
come on, get real. This is real life. I really truly think this is going to last until like, and it's getting worse and worse, right? It's not getting better. These things are happening at a rapid pace. Limited Run didn't take any time to look at this person and be like, you're done. I really think that like it's going to come to a fever pitch where people are going to start getting like capped in the street over stuff like this. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you can't just mess with people's livelihoods. You can't take everything away from people like that and not expect them at some point to retaliate.
Yeah, I agree. It's and it sucks because like these companies get away with it because like North Carolina is an at will state where they can just fire her because for whatever essentially.
Right.
But that's just, again, like you said, like how do you wake up in the morning and like, I'm gonna take this person's livelihood today?
Yeah. I
Like what
mean,
if they had kids? Like so, like how do you explain to your kids like, yo, we gotta move, or we can't afford to live in our house anymore because daddy lost his job because he said something stupid 10 years ago, or something. So he
a
said something someone didn't
single
like. Yeah,
a
like
single person had a problem with it, and they think they're some sort of hero for doing this. By
yeah,
the way,
right, and it just like. And I don't want to like, I don't really want to shame this community or anything like that, but like I agree, like why are we so afraid from blowback from the trans community? Like why are we so afraid? Like I'll put it out
because
there.
they're
Like what's the
bullies,
fear?
dude.
Yeah,
That
like
that
that's what it feels like.
yeah, they're bullies, man. Absolute bullies, and that's what it comes down to. It's just like anything else. And I really think Colin said it best on Sacred Symbols this week. You cannot claim to be a marginalized community with this kind of power. It's insane.
Right. And they do it and like they do it like all the time. Like
Yes.
this is like constant where they someone will get upset by something, or it'll get someone will say something and that'll get misconstrued as transphobic, and they have to walk this back and apologize for that. Like I just don't get like we don't treat like minorities like that. We don't treat gay people like that. We don't even treat women like that.
Right.
But like trans, like it just for some reason or another, we want no smoke from when it comes to the trans community. Like, and I don't get it, but like in the same token, they just have the power to just ruin everyone's life because reasons. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like I agree with Colin. Like,
Yeah.
how are you marginalized if you wield that much power? Like, how are you marginalized if you have the ability to just ruin literally anyone you want?
And like and I think I speak for most people about this issue, right? Where it's like I don't care what you do. You can do whatever you want. If
Yeah.
you want to go outside and pretend you're a dog, or you want to, change genders or whatever you want to do, I don't care. Whatever makes you happy, it makes you feel right. That's fine. You can go outside and, stick your head in the sand and be like, I'm a worm. I don't care. Right. But don't make your life miserable for other people. That's just being a bully, you know?
Yeah.
And also, shut the fuck up about it. I don't
Right.
care. No one cares. Like you guys got what you wanted. You won. No one cares. Shut up. That's all I care.
Right.
That's all I want. Like, can we get back and talking about things that like make people happy instead of just constantly being on like the offended and anger
Yeah.
cycle all the time, dude? It's
Yeah.
crazy.
My opinion on it is, they when you can get a community that, like, okay, you're recognized and you have equal rights, and unless there's something I'm missing, it's not like illegal to be trans in this country. Like, I believe there's treatment for it, and even when people go to jail or other facilities, like, they adapt to it. Like, they will make sure to cater to what you need and what your views are. Like, so when I hear, like, oh, they're so oppressed, like, they're not. And it's just, yeah, is there ignorant shit that's said? Absolutely, absolutely. And I will not be. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like, no, that's not a thing. But in the same token, like, that community can fuck off just like everyone else. Like, it's just one of those things. Like,
Yeah.
don't beat me over the head with it. Like, okay, like, do what you want to do, but in the same token, like, don't also then try and bully me into saying or reacting a certain way, because, like, it's hard. Like, it's something that over the last maybe 15 years, like, I've myself have had to get used to, and I feel like other people too, where you see something, you're like, whoa, huh? Like, you question it because, like, you don't know, like, you're not used to seeing someone who looks like that or acts that way or who would even think that. So until I, like, had an actual conversation with somebody who was trans and, like, realize, like, oh, they're just, like, if I cut them, they bleed red too, like, they're just a person. It's just one of those things, like, that's where my level of, like, because I used to be the same way, like, oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing, like, how do I address them? Like, do I say he? Do I say she? Do I, like, what do I say? Like, but now, like, you just talk to them like you do anybody else. And it's just, and the reason I'm saying this and, like, harping on it so much is because, like, I don't have that kind of power. Like, I can't ruin anybody. Like, there's people in the gaming community who say shit that I don't like all the time, but, like, I can't ruin them. Like, for example, a guy like the Black Hokage, right? That he was on G4.
Mhm.
Like, I don't like the fact that, like, why do I need to know that you're black? Like, why is that a
Oh.
thing? Why is that, like, why is that so pronounced? Like, it's just something that he does it all the time. Like, oh, it's a black this and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, man. Like, you don't see me saying that. Like, so it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, we give too much power to specific communities, and then, like, then we all then in the same token, we're like, when this happens, here we are on a podcast being like, what the fuck?
Well, like I want to rewind back to something you said about like, yeah, people are gonna say ignorant shit, right? But like, people will do that anyway about literally
Yeah,
anything,
anything. Yeah,
right? So like, how often do you hear shit about being overweight, right? Like I
yeah,
like
all the
all
time.
the
Yeah.
time. How is
Mhm.
that any better, or like, how is that not the same? It doesn't, like, come on, man. Like, we get I do. I get harped on all the time for being a white male.
Yeah.
I don't let it ruin my day. I move on with it, right? Shut the fuck up.
All right.
Like,
I
come
agree.
on,
Yeah, get
like,
fucked. Like, get
like,
fucked.
yeah, like someone says some ignorant shit to me, and it's just like, all right, well, fuck you too, but move on, like, and if like, I don't know, man. It just, these people are cowards. They're losers. And they go online every day and they look for someone whose life they can make miserable because they are miserable. And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's the same. Before Twitter, we had these people who would go out and make people miserable. You know. Um. Anyway, but like,
Yeah. Don't be a
this has
fucking
given
asshole.
them. I like, dude. Twitter has given people direct contact with celebrities and companies, and it has made the world worse.
Hmm.
It has made the world way worse, and Twitter needs to go away. I hate Twitter.
Yeah, I agreed. I thought Elon was going to kill it. I thought it was going to happen. All right. So next on our misconduct list. So lasting unlimited run, don't buy their shit. Vote with your wallets, people. So next on our misconduct list, we have Adam fucking Sessler. Excuse me,
Oh my god.
Adam. Gamers are stupid. Sessler. So Adam Sessler. Uh, those of you who are older will remember he was on G4 TV. Um, he was the host of X Play along with Morgan Webb. So he's been a gaming personality probably last 25 years, 20 years. And so unfortunately he has some, I guess, influence or some impact on the games community. So people tend to listen to what he says, or if he has an opinion, it tends to get a reaction out of people. So he is on this whole kick where gamers are stupid. He's like, yeah, game. If you're a gamer, you're a fucking basically in his eyes a basement dwelling fucking weeb. And so he says this, and a YouTuber who goes by RGT85, who actually I like his content a fair amount. So shout out to him. He goes, I have a theory on this. Adam Sessler is a fucking clown. And Adam Sessler, I guess, sees this tweet and then replies to him and goes, bro, that's more like a you problem. I know who I am. And basically they go back and forth right now where Adam Sessler is saying, like, I'm not a gamer. I still play games, but I don't consider myself a gamer. And like he's insinuating that gamers are just a bunch of, like I said earlier, micro dick pubic lice.
Yeah.
So when you hear this shit going on here, like, what are your thoughts, buddy?
So first off, things he said that night when he had another one of his famous like nightly meltdowns got way worse. Like he essentially said that he took advantage of all gamers, and the only reason he did X Play was because he could make money off of them and whatnot. And he's like, he was just saying really ignorant shit, right? Like,
Like
yeah,
very arrogant.
yeah, like I played you guys, and like you guys couldn't get on the lawn of my high rise, and blah blah blah. It's like, dude, shut up. I mean, Adam Sessler lost his relevancy when G4 TV died the first time, right? No one watched the return of it. Obviously, that's why the show died. The channel died. Um, and he's just a giant asshole all the time, dude. All the time. He is like, dude, listen. I don't know. Something happened in 2016 when Trump won the presidency, right? Like there was a joke going around on the like memeing on these people about like Trump derangement syndrome, right? But Adam Sessler is like a clear case of someone who completely lost their mental health when that election happened. Like this dude went from being like everyone's lovable, like, you know, nerd hero who, got cut from G4 and then, did his own thing with Rev 3 and like everyone wanted to hear back from Adam Sessler again someday, to being like this deranged, awful, angry person online that hates his own community that like gave him everything he has, by the way. Everything. And no one does anything to Adam Sessler, by the way. He goes on these tirades online. And this is not the first one, by the way. This is like a monthly occurrence for Adam. And he goes on these tirades online and treats his community like shit. I have only one thing to say to people who act like him. Like they're like, fuck you. This dude has no idea how easy in life he's had it. And he wants to sit here and just be like, oh, like I don't understand why I get treated like shit and blah blah blah. It's like, nah, dude, like kiss my ass. Like he wants to talk about writing a book, and dude, no one is going to read your book, Adam, because no
Not
one
after
likes
that.
you.
Yeah, not
You know,
after this. No.
I tweeted at him, I'm like, you're talentless. Go back and sit in your high rise because no one likes you. You are a minor D-list celebrity 10 years ago, and just shut up and stop bullying people. Like that's all there is to it, man. Like I
So,
I don't know what his deal is. It's
well,
crazy.
you want me to think? I will tell you what I think his deal is.
Yeah.
When he goes on these like crazy fucking tirades, and not that I want to make accusations here, but I think he's on the nose candy. Like he's on the
I was
fucking
thinking that too.
he's on the fucking sauce. Like he's doing something where, like whether he's snorting pills or he's ingesting pills, he's doing something because like his behavior is just very erratic. So like if you're to the point like as a celebrity or I guess a personality or whatever, someone of note, I guess we will say, because I think like unless you were like unless you played video games and watched TV in a specific era time, you probably don't even know who the fuck Adam Sessler is. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a very large part of the gaming community when like G4 relaunched, they're like, what the fuck is this? Um, and then like side note on G4, wasn't there like somebody who was always going on these like fucking social justice rants and like
It was
kind of make
one
like
famous one, Frost, with the
yeah.
women in gaming rant or whatever.
And then like I think the last thing I think they did was they like, oh shit, our views are dropping. Amaranth put on a bikini and hey, show us
Yeah.
like now
Yeah.
we're making sex jokes, but um yeah. So like I literally think like he's like fucking like high off his fucking block off the fucking nose candy, and he's in that stage of celebrities where like they're just in that lashing out phase, like, and you see it all the time in Hollywood where like their careers fall apart. Like famously, I think it happened to like Macaulay Culkin where he was like doing a bunch of drugs and getting
Yeah.
arrested all the time. Like, so like, and not that saying that that's what Adam Sessler specifically doing, but like he's definitely like off his rocker as far as his view of himself, his sense of entitlement. It comes off as like very arrogant to basically look down upon the people who built your career. Like you wouldn't
Yeah.
be where you are if it wasn't for excuse me, these basement dwelling pubic lice that you call gamers, which is fucked up. Like you're marginalizing entire community, which ironically we're talking about that, but like like you and I are both successful grown adults and we are gamers, but
Yeah.
in his eyes we're like, no, we're all fucking mouth breathing, like never moved out of mom's basement, fucking panty rating, like they get just fucked up. So I don't know what else we have to say on Adam Sessler, but like a giant fuck you to him, buddy.
Hmm.
Like don't ever like I would love, not that this will ever happen. I would love for Adam Sessler ever come at me for anything. Like tweet, like if I were to tweet he something that he didn't like or reply and about something that he said that I didn't like, and he would call me a fucking some sort of name. I'm like, dude, you're a pissant. Like, shut the fuck. Like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, I know, right? Like dude, he's nobody. Adam Sessler, when he was fired from G4, his spot was immediately replaced by people like Greg Miller, Colin Moriarty, the dude from Giant Bomb, whose name eludes me at this point.
I forget his name too. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
what you're talking
but
about.
like these guys who immediately replaced him with personality, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the community immediately moved on. He left no lasting impression other than like nostalgia in our childhoods. That's it, man. He didn't make anything worthwhile. Everything he did was read from a script, right? And I just he's a nobody, and I don't know what he think like why he thinks he's some hot shit just because what people followed you online from 10 years ago. Come on.
yeah. And like being real here, Morgan Webb was like the reason most people watch
Yes.
X play. Not even like oh she was so hot. Like I just thought she always had good opinions on games. Like I just thought she was actually like pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So also G4 like did you? I had never watched any of the comeback content. Did they ever bring back Attack of the Show? Like did that actually come back?
Um yeah, they did. They made some sort of um half-assed attempt at their old stuff. It would never had the production value. It never had the personalities. It was very lame. It is what I would say. It was very like watered down, lame content. And there's like really good deep dive investigations on what G4 was supposed to be, and apparently like the whole reboot was just pretty much a favor for the owner of Comcast's son. Um, Yeah, because he was a big fan, and like it was always supposed to transition into like a competitive esport platform once they got people hooked into the content. So it was always a bait and switch to begin with, but it failed because no one liked the personalities, dude. If you put good personalities and you paid them well on G4 TV, it would have succeeded.
Yeah.
but the content they made was so stale and dumb. Um, and then you had Frosk on there who did the women in gaming rant and immediately turned off 90% of the audience. You know, because she was like going after like male gamers, like talking shit to them, and someone like me who's watching that is like, okay, well, you don't want me here, so I'm gone, dude. Like I'm out. See ya.
Yeah.
I'll spend my time elsewhere. Like I don't know what they expected to happen. Um, but yeah, it sucks, man, because I did like G4 TV back in my childhood, and one of the other things that G4 did back in the day that was really good that people don't talk about enough is like icons. They did really good
I used to love
documentaries.
that show. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they did really good documentaries. They had things like Cinematech where they would show like gameplay videos and trailers late at night. G4 TV has a place, or they did. They had a place that they could have
Yeah.
fulfilled, but they chose the wrong path. They could have given real good personalities, fun scripts with jokes and skits and things like that. But instead, they relied on Adam Sessler behind a screen. He didn't even show up in person. That's how little he cared, right? He stayed
I
in
was, oh, yeah,
his
yeah,
apartment,
yeah.
and they had people like Frosk as a main host who has no personality that no one likes. The only person on there is the completionist that I
Yeah,
like,
Gerard, yeah.
and he wasn't rating his own stuff. He was following a
No.
script, so he didn't even have his own good content. And to be fair, that guy did not need G4.
No, no.
His
He,
channel is
I never
great.
knew why he was there. Like I always thought that was strange because like I love the completionist. I was a big
Yeah,
fan of what he does on the completionist. So when I heard he was going to G4, I was like, what? Why?
I
So
mean
I
probably
think maybe for him it was like nostalgia too. Like I just think like, hey, like go be a part of G4. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'd sign up. But yeah,
nostalgia,
no.
or like I don't know, nostalgia or credits, right? Saying
Yeah,
he was a host and he did this and yada yada yada.
but yeah.
But
So last thing on Adam Sessler, like I'm pretty sure I unfollowed him. I unfollowed him, because like don't fucking like don't be a fuck. Like just and that's
yeah,
the moral here. Like just don't be a fuck. Like you know how they say like never meet your heroes. Like this is why. Like he's like again for a lot of us who grew up on his content and to see how he views us and like how he treats people on Twitter. Like this is why you don't meet your heroes. Like this is
hmm,
why. Because like 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be a complete piece of shit.
yeah. This guy sucks.
Yeah,
Let his
Adam
career
Sessler,
die.
like yeah, Adam Sessler, right here. Fuck off. Like, like
The
here.
funny thing is that like you immediately called it out as like nose candy, right?
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking that too, but um, there was this really small Adam Sessler controversy when he was part of Rev 3 like 10 years ago or so, right after G4 died and he found a new job, where he was interviewing people at E3 and he was acting really weird and erratic. Like he was like shaking his head and like stuff like in a really weird way, having like minor like spasms. And people were all back then talking about like how he looks like he's like on something.
Yeah, I think he's like a
And
coke. I think he's like a coke head. Like I feel like he's definitely on coke.
yeah, and now I believe it, like because I was thinking the same thing when I saw it. I'm like, dude, there is something weird about the way he's tweeting. Like, he just goes on these like rabbit holes late at night, and he
Yeah.
just starts going at people.
Yeah. So also last aside, what is it with men when they hit their 40s, they fucking rock fedoras? Like what the fuck? What happens?
I don't know. I
Because
don't know.
he's another one of these fedora wearing fucks who like who's just like, oh, back in my day, like. And I feel like it's not just him who does it. Like athletes do it. I remember one time I found like I was helping my dad move, and he owned a fedora, and I'm like, I'm 32, so like I'm staring 40. We're staring down the
Mhm.
barrel. I'm like, if I ever get a fedora, shoot me for the record on site.
Well, see, all you have to do is make sure you don't cut your hair because it won't fit into a fedora.
Correct.
So there you
We're
go.
I don't know. We're soon. I don't know if I don't know if the long hair is making it through my 30s. I find a lot of grays. We're it gets a little depressing where you're looking at your hair and there's like a long gray hair. I'm like, oh
Too much
no.
hassle, man. I see you messing with it all the time. Yeah,
Oh yeah, it's brutal.
I'm sure shampooing all that hair is like nonsense. You got
Yeah.
it's too much. I would get rid of it.
Anytime I vacuum this house, it's like I killed a poodle. Like I lose so much hair.
Your hair was stuck in my vacuum cleaner for like
Yeah.
years because I my vacuum cleaner got clogged up and I turned it over one day and it was like Pedro hair wrapped in the bristles. I'm like, oh my god, he
It's
never leaves me. Like, get a little
no.
present.
I'm like literally the worst person to get murdered because like my hair will be on you.
Yeah,
It'll be there. So yeah. So again, fuck Adam Sessler. Don't be a
yeah.
fucking douchebag.
Adam
So
Sessler can get folded. Come up on me.
yeah, dude, I wish he would. So looking at some more of these misconducts here we got going. So the WWE, and for you older folk they used to be the WWF.
Yeah.
They brought back Vince McMahon. So to put this in context, I believe almost a year ago, Vincent Kennedy McMahon was removed himself from WWE like operations and programming because several allegations of sexual misconduct came out against him.
I mean, like, is
Now,
anyone surprised, right? Like,
no, here's what I was gonna say. So I put him in the same category as like you know who Ric Flair is, right?
yeah, yeah,
So last year there was a documentary. It was Dark Side of the Ring, and it was dubbed The Plane Ride from Hell.
yes, I've
And
seen it.
yeah, so there's some details that come out about Ric Flair, about him just being a fucking sexual deviant. Where there was
Hmm.
one point where he went to the back of the plane, got completely naked, and like tried to get one of the stewardesses to grab his dick, and like, okay, so when this came out, like it painted Ric Flair in a terrible fucking light because like
Right.
in 2022 at the time, that's a huge no no, but like this plane ride from hell occurred in 2000, like it was like 2002 2003, but Ric Flair has been Ric Flair like in that, like he's been the nature boy since the 70s, buddy, and it's been the same for Vince McMahon. So Vince McMahon is famous for on programming. He was like the evil chairman. So he made Trish Stratus get stripped down to her bra and panties and bark like a dog
Yes.
once. He routinely would make sexual passes on camera to women. He invented the bra and panties match.
Yes.
Uh, so there's countless stories of Vince McMahon just being a sexual fucking, like, not predator, but like just being like the typical old guy where like it was okay to do these things in their lifetime. So he was, with all the scrutiny and all the basically bad PR, he kind of went into like a semi-retirement. He's like, "Yo, shit's too hot right now. I need to get the fuck out." Because stock prices started plummeting when that happened. I own stock in WWE, and
Oh God.
yeah, so like it was like going for like $55 a share when all that stuff when Vince McMahon came out, it like plummeted to like 45.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, we were taking a hit. So he reclused himself, but now, since I guess he's looking to sell the company, or they're looking, because it's a publicly traded company, so they're looking to sell. He has now reinserted himself back into the WWE to quote unquote help with the sale.
Well, the crazy thing is now I don't really follow pro wrestling, but the only thing I had heard from just browsing people online was that WWE was like thriving without him. That Triple
Yeah,
H was doing
like
like a fantastic job.
yeah, and it's because like he like so to put more context, do a little world building here. Wrestling has fallen, or pro wrestling has fallen the fuck off since like the glory days, whichever would consider, which would be like the Attitude Era, or for some of you younger folk, the Ruthless Aggression Era, where you had your Brock Lesnar's and your
Yeah.
John Cena's, and see, like I grew up with like Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, like the good shit. And so like the WWE's been on a huge downturn. Then you had like the PG era and all this other crap. Like it's been bad for years. And then up until maybe 2-3 years ago, where another company came out, AEW, and was not, I wouldn't say it was any, there weren't any threat to the WWF, or excuse me, WWE, like, but they were at least another option along with New Japan, along with like all the indies. So like the pro wrestling scene and especially the indie scene was very vibrant. So the WWE was struggling to adapt. So with Vince McMahon gone, Triple H, who was very in tune with the indie scene, like he's famous for engineering NXT to being successful. He brought back the Cruiserweight Classic. He created a UK division. Like he was doing all sorts of shit that like was creative. It was smart and overall usually pretty good stuff. But like a lot of the time he'd run into just meddling from Vince McMahon, his father-in-law. Um, so now Vince is back, and again, like you said, the WWE was thriving without him, and now they're looking to sell. And one of the main buyers, I think, is a Saudi Arabia-based like conglomerate,
Yeah, I
which
heard
is
the
going to
Saudi
kill that.
wealth
Like,
fund was
yeah,
like really into looking into like, buying them.
yeah. So if they were to sell to them, like that kills it. Because not that I watch the WWE anyway, but like I definitely wouldn't watch it then. Like I
Do you
struggle to buy
think
S10 games now. Like, what do you mean? I was
do
Saudis,
you
dude?
think that we live in a lifetime where WWE falls off as not the most watched pro wrestling
Oh
program?
yeah, yeah. I think
I
so.
think
It's
so
coming.
too. I think so too. Because like it's for I used to be a huge fan of it when I was a kid, up until like 14 years old. Right, I was a huge fan. Pretty much like we talked about to the end of the ruthless aggression era when they switched over to PG, became
Yeah,
super lame, and I was just over it. Um, but like you said, it's been bad for a long time, and
decades now. Yeah.
people have wanted something better, and from all I've understood, it seems like they've gotten it, and now they're in a situation where like if they sell to Saudi, like people are not going to be happy, um, and I think that's going to crush the whole company. I can see that crushing them.
Yeah. So now, could you imagine, like, you think about what you just said, like there could be a world with no WWE. Like there could be a
Yeah.
world where it's just AEW um and all the indie stuff, and I think that's like real strange because I don't think AEW is like a very good product. I watched the big stuff. Like one of my favorite matches they've done, like that made me watch a pro wrestling match was Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega. When I found out like they were advertising that match, I watched that, and then like CM Punk's return was pretty cool.
Uh
But
huh.
like to me, they're just like a glorified WCW. It's like all old WWE guys. Um, so like I don't like I said I don't think that's a very good product. Uh, but could you imagine just the conversation that's like hey Vince, like you're kind of bringing a lot of heat now, like, can you kind of like fuck off for like 6 to 8 months,
It's time
and
for
then
you to
like
get the fuck out of here.
he does it, and then he comes back, and he's like, I'm back, and they're like, God fucking damn it,
No chance. That's what
right?
you
Yeah, no chance in hell. So, any
Yeah, I
closing
think
thoughts on that?
no, I just think that like I always just kind of assumed Vince McMahon was going to run it until he died.
Yeah,
So, it's no surprise to me that like he came back because I always expected that to happen.
like it like I said, it just blows my mind that like again, I love Vince McMahon. I think he's a funny character. I think he's like obviously he's very knowledgeable about the sport, or excuse me, the art of pro wrestling.
The art.
But like like him and Ric Flair, like they just can't exist in 2023. Like you
Yeah.
can't, like you can't, and like and I'm all for it. Listen, I love the jet flying, Rolex wearing,
Oh my
kiss
god.
stealing, son of a gun. Like I'm with it. I'm all for it. Listen. I tell girls like back in the day about riding Space Mountain, all that. Listen, I was for it. But like, I was definitely about like the nature boy, and like definitely about like Vince McMahon. But in 2023, where like certain shit you just can't get away with anymore, like you got to step aside, man. Like Vince, it's okay. It's okay. Retire, buddy. It's okay. It's okay, buddy.
Dude, you
So I'm
gotta
with that.
follow this Instagram page called No Context Flare Memes.
Oh
One of the
God.
best, one of the best Instagrams I've ever followed. They just post like these quotes by Ric Flair, And this dude, is it fair to say he was the greatest? What are they called?
Promos.
The greatest promo guy of all time.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's up there.
him and Macho Man, right? But man, Ric Flair just went off the wall with some crazy stuff, and it's really funny to see him in the old
Yeah,
days.
no, one of my favorite ones to share is like I usually do this when it's like sports related, but I always share like the one where he's like, "I'm gonna be more obnoxious, more overbearing." Like just like for he like Ric Flair always has said some shit that like you can relate to other things, which I think is really funny.
I was laughing at the
And
one earlier today where he's in the ring. He's just screaming, "Abuse of power! Abuse of power!" And he's yelling at who is the Eric Bischoff. I
yeah,
was like, oh my god, this guy was
yeah,
something else.
yeah, and it's just like the Macho Man stuff. I love his promos because they don't make any sense.
Yeah, I am the cream of
Uh,
the crop.
I fucking love that. That's like probably my favorite promo. At my last job, on Sunday mornings, that was literally how I woke up residents. Where like I would just play, it was like literally every morning, but right before dietary, it'd be like, all right, we're gonna play some Macho Man promos real quick
Oh
to
my
just get
god!
the day started.
Like,
It was
please,
like
Mister
without,
Pedro, I just want to
yeah,
sleep.
yeah. Yeah, because it was time for their cup of coffee in the big time. So, so special shout out to Vinnie Mac. Definite misconduct for coming back. You got to stay gone, buddy. But
Yep.
moving on, fucking last fucking person or company on the on the misconduct list, and I feel like they're gonna be repeat offenders, man.
Oh shit.
So DC Comics makes a second appearance on this list. So after all this shit with fucking over Henry Cavill, which is, and then like now James Gunn is just in charge of the entire DC movie, I guess, production or whatever's going on. So they're canceling a bunch of shit. Zack Snyder for some reason, like I think they killed off the Snyderverse. If I'm correct? Um, they comic book wise, the Joker's pregnant with his own kid, which makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
For the record, like what the fuck are we doing here? So I'm scrolling Twitter as I'm taking a shit one day, and I see it tweeted out from I forget what the Twitter handle was, but it was well, it was at the time where like like the blue check mark meant something.
Yeah.
Where now like we can just pay, like we can be verified if we want, but we're not going to do that. But I see a tweet from like a comic book Twitter that I follow that says DC reports they're willing to move forward with Ezra Miller as the Flash, and I see this. I'm like, one of two things goes through my mind. So I'm like, okay, so that means like we're definitely not canceling the Flash movie. So like that's good, right? And then I'm thinking, I'm like, hang on. So we'll tell Dwayne the Rock Johnson to fuck off. Like we have no plans for Black Adam. Like yeah, get fucked, buddy. And we'll tell Henry Cavill to go eat a dick. Even like so, two people who want to play certain roles, right?
Oh yeah.
Yet we have time for Ezra Miller, who they were just committing felony after felony, acting a fool.
Oh yeah. Grooming a
Yeah,
child and
yeah, grooming
all kinds of
children
stuff.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like doing all sorts of weirdo shit. Like, but we're gonna tell them like, yeah, Ezra Miller, they are the best option that we have for playing the Flash. Again, the Flash, who's Barry Allen, who's like supposed to be like the most pure-hearted do-gooder in the fucking DC universe,
Hmm.
is going to be played by a criminal. Is it's what you're telling me,
So
and
I
I
I
don't think he's even a
actually
good cast.
I actually have a theory for this, and my theory is there wasn't it announced already that this Flash movie is Flashpoint.
Yeah,
So I think they're going to use Ezra Miller to launch the James Gunn multiverse, and then they'll cut him afterwards, because they can't say like, "Oh, we're done with Ezra Miller," and then launch the new DC live action universe. But Yeah, so they can't use Ezra Miller to launch the new DC live action universe bef- and say they're done with him beforehand, right? It's got to be afterwards.
Yeah. So with the DC, like, I don't understand, like, what, like, there's gonna be blowback from this
Oh,
because
for
again,
sure.
like, yeah, people are gonna see like they picked Henry Cavill to be like, like I'm like this. They have just such a special way of just like irritating me,
Oh yeah.
and because it doesn't make any sense. Like it just doesn't make any sense at all. At
Nope.
all. How
Nope.
like even like when you laid out like the Flashpoint stuff, like all right, that makes sense, but like to then say you're going to be willing to move forward with him as the Flash, and then but tell me like other character that I think they did a better job of casting that they're not willing to move forward with just sets a bad precedent for me. Like it just like, hey, we're gonna reward failure. Hey, we're gonna take like one of our classic characters. He's like a fucking founding member of the Justice League. It's not like we're not. It's not like we're talking Blue Beetle here. Like
Right.
it's the fucking Flash, and you're gonna fucking just oh. Can we just cancel DC Comics? Like, can we just stop?
You would like to, right? But I
Yeah,
mean, I don't
I'm
know.
okay. I'm okay with stopping. I'm okay with just stopping. Like, hey, we're done. Because like here's the part that sucks. I am such a Flash fan. I'm gonna be at the fucking Flash. I'm gonna be at the Flash movie day one. I'm
Yep.
there, and I'm hoping it's good because I have a feeling like I'm gonna be there day one, and it's gonna be fucking brutal.
Oh
Like this
yeah.
movie's gonna be a fucking turd, and I'm gonna be. You'll see. I'll make a solo podcast of me just ranting for a fucking hour and a half about how bad this fucking movie is because
Well,
like, oh
the best they've had, right, is like Shazam and Wonder Woman.
yeah,
And me and Caitlin watched Shazam the other day, and
I've never seen that.
I'm like, oh, it's fine, dude. I'm just so burnt out on superheroes. I can't do it anymore. Even if Shazam was like a 10 out of 10, I still don't think I would have been about it. And I think honestly, it was like a 7 out of 10. I think it's got the Fallen Order syndrome where it was like just sustainable enough or like good enough that it wasn't terrible and everyone was happy about it. Same with Wonder Woman, but these movies aren't like amazing standout movies. They're just
Oh.
fine, and we're like, oh, at least they're not terrible, you know.
Yeah,
But as far as DC goes, like they don't care. That's been the whole thing. It's why I don't read comic books anymore, man. Like
no,
this is
this
the same
ruined it
kind of
for you.
this is the same kind of nonsense that they did with comic books. They just treat their
Yeah,
fan base like absolute garbage. I don't know. I don't know, man.
I just
Henry
say
Cavill was a great Superman. The Rock was a great Black Adam. I don't see why you had to cut those characters and relaunch. It doesn't make any sense. Um,
well, here's my thing
I
though.
don't know.
If and maybe that wasn't the plan. I don't know when James Gunn like came up with this plan of his. But if you're gonna do that, right, and in your head you know that's the plan, like I don't even know how long James Gunn's even been in charge, but why would you then give me an after credit fucking scene where both Henry Cavill and Dwayne the Rock Johnson are insinuating they're gonna meet later down the road and fight or whatever was gonna happen? Like, why are you giving me that then? Like, why is that even in the film? And the reason why I'm saying it's an issue because if you know you're gonna do this, like I'm assuming like James Gunn one day didn't just wake up and be like, yeah, no, we're not cut this. Like, cut it out of the movie then. Like, don't even bother teasing me because now I'm just mad.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, probably because Black Adam didn't do well. Everything, all the numbers that have come out have been pretty much like, oh yeah, this is movie's gonna lose money. So I don't know, but it seems like they pulled the red button and just nuked everything, and they're like, all right, now we're starting over from scratch. Probably after the Flashpoint movie, and they can reboot everything just like they do in the comics every 2 years.
Yeah, we're like, oh
Ridiculous.
yeah, we fucked up. Have the Flash fix everything for us.
Yep, that's
Which,
literally
like,
the entire DC Comics
yeah,
like
yeah,
history.
because what didn't they do that with like DC? The was it the New 52 they did that with
New 52,
and
and then
Rebirth, right?
Rebirth.
Yeah.
And
Oh
then like the first
God.
one, the first Flashpoint had like massive drastic consequences on the DC universe. Like, dude, this is what they always do. It's either like, I don't know, merging universes or the
Ah,
Flash going back in time or
right.
Superboy breaking dimensional barriers. Like it's just so stupid.
So
Anytime they want to rewrite something, they just do this.
yeah, and maybe and just a piece of advice, DC, take it or leave it. Enough with the multiverses.
Yeah,
Enough.
dude.
Like, and it's like, and it sucks because there are certain multiverses that are cool. Like, I love the Crime Syndicate. I think that's like one of the coolest
Yeah,
ideas. I like shit like that. But make it a fucking one off. Don't make it Earth fucking 19 whatever the fuck. Like, because there's even a fucking an Earth that's only the 1960s Batman. It's like that universe. There's a Tim Burton universe. Like, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why is this here? So like, I just feel like as a company, like they just fucking routinely fuck up left and right, and it's starting to drive me insane. Like, it's starting to literally drive me insane. Even when they're doing their fucking streaming platform, right? DC Universe or whatever it was, wasn't it that it? Wasn't that it?
yeah. DC, yeah, DC Universe.
Yeah. What happened to that? Where's that?
Dude, they canceled
It's
that, and I
dead.
didn't
They
even know.
killed it. They killed it.
They transferred it all over to HBO Max. I had no idea.
Yeah. It's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
What and even in that, like, so everything's transferred to HBO Max, and I know this isn't a DC fault, but like, I'm gonna run with it. So like, when you have HBO Max on YouTube TV, you can't even access any of the DC content.
that's weird.
Yeah, it's like super fucked up. But and then you even look at like Gotham Knights, right? That game sucks.
Yeah,
That
I
game
agree.
is that game is mid. That game is like the definition of mid. So now I'm like thinking like, oh god, is the Suicide Squad game going to be bad? Because like,
I think so.
I'm already not a fan of the Suicide Squad. Like, I literally hate the Suicide Squad, but
Yeah,
I'm a fan of Rocksteady. So I'm like, this is probably the one company that would probably do them right if like, hold a gun to my head and like, hey, besides like Insomniac, I don't really trust too many studios with superhero games. Um, but like, if this game's bad, like if Rocksteady makes a bad DC game, I think I might be out.
dude, I was out like 5 years ago. Yeah, I don't know. This is the kind of crap comic book companies do all the time, man. Like, Marvel had their Infinite Crisis event in like 2014, where like the Ultimate Universe and the regular Marvel Universe collided, and they're like, it's every universe now. Now all the universes are we're just merging them all into one universe, right? And then like
Bad.
it came out like 2 months later that Spider Gwen was in her own universe,
Like,
and then all of a sudden a year later we have Spider Verse event where there's all the universes Spider Man come
I
together, right?
can't. I fucking
And
can't.
now like Spider Man doesn't exist anymore, right? Everything is about the Spider Verse because that made them money on the movie. So like the comics of Spider Man are ruined. And we talk about this like every week, right? Like all the things are
Yeah.
recycled in comic books.
Yes.
There's like almost no barrier to entry to be a comic book writer at all. So
Right. It
like you
sucks.
get people that are like fresh off the street writing like Batman or something like
Yeah. It's
that. And
bullshit.
yeah, there's
Bullshit.
no barrier to entry. As long as you meet the certain criteria, they'll hire you.
Dude, let's
And
be comic book writers. I'm in.
yeah, I mean we might as well. But I don't know, man. It's just terrible. Like the whole comic book thing, the movies got overplayed. I haven't been excited for a superhero movie in like 10 years. Um, I'm just not into it anymore. I'm not really, I'm
Yeah.
honestly, I'm not even excited for the Spider Man 2 game. I'm way more excited for something like Hogwarts Legacy or Final Fantasy 16 than I am the Spider
Yeah,
Man 2
I'm
game.
with you. I mean, because of the developer, I'm excited. Other than that, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be Spider-Man, but I think they did a really good job with the first one. So, and I liked Miles Morales a lot more than you did, but I actually think that's a great game. But
By the way, the only thing superhero related that could absolutely get me out of bed and get me rock hard would be an Infamous 3. Give me Infamous back. I loved Infamous.
what if Insomniac did Invincible?
I would be all in on Invincible because Invincible actually is like a take on the superhero genre. I forget, like it makes fun of the superhero genre. I forget the word for it, but it's
Parody.
really, yeah, parody of the superhero genre. It's really really good. It's not like a comedic parody. It's like a look how stupid this is. type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's like,
So
but they do it in a way that makes sense, and the book's phenomenal. It literally they have at the top the best superhero book of all time, and it literally is the best superhero book of all time. It's amazing.
right. So in wrapping up, I'll leave you with this, and this is a quote out of one of my favorite movies, Casino. Joe Pesci does this. And I quote, "Don't make a fuck out of me. Don't make a fuck out of me. If I find out you made a fuck out of me, I'm gonna leave you where I find you, DC. Don't make a fucks out of me. God damn it. All right, moving on.
Too
So
late.
so we last week announced some free shit that was on Amazon Game and like Epic Store. There's some things that I think we missed, so I'm just gonna quickly recap um what's on this free games list. So on Amazon Games right now, you have Breath Edge, which haven't played it, so have fun with that. Lawn Mowing Simulator, which these simulator games that keep coming out, I feel like there's like one a week now. I think we're starting to oversaturate the market a little bit.
100%.
We have Chicken Police, which again, do
Okay.
what you will. Yeah. Far Away 2. So yeah, those of you with Amazon games, so along with all the SNK games that we announced last show, you can find those for completely free on Amazon Games.
There you go, dude.
Epic Game Store. So you have Kerbal Space Program, Shadow Tactics, First Class Trouble, which as of the recording of the show is now free. And I believe for Game Pass, I believe the Persona games are coming this week.
Nice.
I believe Persona 3, it's not FES, it's Persona 3 Portable, correct? I think we
Yes.
established that.
Yes.
And Persona 4 is going to be the Golden Edition, right? Or Persona 4 Golden.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so those of you guys looking for something to play, again, those are some free games for you to check out along with the things we announced last week. So never turn down free shit. Get in there, get your free shit, and enjoy some gaming, you broke ass.
Yeah.
So last thing, because it's been a good show, but
Yep.
we're starting to wind down here. I've noticed that I don't really ever announce where we can be found. So, what streaming platforms can you find our show on, good buddy?
Right now you can find us on YouTube, Podbean, and Zencaster.
So again,
So pretty
YouTube,
much,
Podbean, Zedcaster.
anywhere you listen to podcasts, we'll be there. But I really recommend you just go to YouTube now that you can listen to YouTube videos with your phone off and just the audio playing. Just listen to that because we have the video feed now. So just hit us up on YouTube. That's the best way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you view us on YouTube, give us a sub, man. We have like we don't even have 10 subscribers, and like we're on episode 15. Like,
Yeah.
get us some goddamn subscribe. Like, can we get some subscriptions here? Like,
Well,
what?
see,
Like,
like
come
I
on.
actually I have a theory about this because our view counts are actually pretty good for how early of a channel we are and how little we upload.
Yeah,
Um,
and
but
nobody
I
subs to us.
actually no, I actually think subscribing is like a dying thing. Um, because I know me personally, I watch YouTube mostly on like my TV, and I just
Yeah.
let the algorithm subscribe for me, dude. Like the
Oh.
algorithm on YouTube is so good that I don't subscribe. I haven't subscribed to a channel in years, and I think it's probably a lot more common than people would think.
Oh. See, I actually like take the time and hit subscribe.
I don't even like videos. I just watch them.
I don't think I've ever liked the video. I don't even like the Alpha Nerds video. So like this is not even me being biased. But yeah, definitely give us a subscription if you can. Leave us comments, give us some engagement. You can find us on our Instagram as well. It's alpha underscore nerds underscore prime, I believe. And you can find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. I try to post on that Facebook page just about every other day or at least a couple times a week. Like we're just trying to up some engagement because towards the end of this month we're gonna have some guest episodes coming up that I have scheduled, and I want to make sure that like our content and the things we're talking about are getting to the right people. Because the last show we did, which I thought was a great show, it's kind of not done that great, but um, we're trying to up the views on that. So thank you for everyone who has taken the time to view our content. As far as like people giving me feedback about the show, I get a lot of positive feedback, so I'm hoping that's not like people just telling me what I want to hear and like honest feedback. But you know, a lot of things that I've heard said is like we're pretty funny, so that's good. And like we're not afraid to like talk about whatever the hell it is we want to talk about. But obviously, definitely a small show, but we enjoy making content for you every week. Hopefully, we can get ourselves to a point we get a sponsor. Remember that time we got a sponsor that we ignored? Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
We were like, oh, we got a sponsor. Yeah, now we're out. So again, you can find our show on Podbean, Zencaster, and Stitcher. Again, you can find us on YouTube as well, which is the platform of choice for listening. Because again, as Mr. Slyhouse alluded to, you can now listen to the podcast with your phone off. So those of you, give us a listen while you're cleaning or doing something in the office or just on your drive home. Just give us a listen, give us some views. Again, shoot us a comment. Tell us you hate us. Do something. Just we want some attention. Give us attention, please. So with that being said, that's our show. Anything in closing, my good friend?
No, man. I think this has been a good show. I'm looking forward to next week when I can tell you all
Yeah.
about how I've beaten Trails in the Sky.
If you beat Trails in the Sky, then like I have to commit and beat the entire what fucking country are they in? The entire Calvar are they Calvard? Yeah, the entire
Yeah,
Cal
no,
No, they're not Calvard. They're Liberal. They're Liberal,
yeah,
right?
literal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I beat that arc. So if you beat that, I will commit to beating that entire series just to spite you. Oh man.
All
But it's
right.
been a good show. Been a good show, everybody. Thank you for your time. And remember, when in doubt, square up, throw down. Have a good night, everybody.